Hello, everybody. Welcome to Out of Comet, the podcast for after the show for Casters of Cantrips. My name is Moves Like Jagger. I play our ship captain, Azric, and we're joined by Mac and Cheese Please, who plays Taj, and Virtual Spectre, who currently is playing Core, but also plays Hayden, who is petrified and turned to stone, who we're trying to rescue because someone stole a statue and paid a lot of money to escape on a ship.
That's so dumb.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we just finished episode 26 and we got into an epic ship battle with a sea turtle, a dragon turtle, but it was a baby. Yeah, I was trying to think.
It was young, okay. It was a tough fight.
At what point were you guys all like, this is a bad idea? For me, it was when it hit y'all for 42 points.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's when I was like, we should not be here.
And that was a baby. Imagine if it was a full adult.
I literally cannot comprehend an adult. Like, I can't. I don't know.
Because it's, like Max said, it's a dragon. Just in the water. And it's
a sea dragon?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dragon.
That's explains why it's resistant probably to fire.
Well,
I think
in my mind, I was like, dragon, yeah, but it's in the water, so maybe it's like a hurricane dragon. Like, I don't know. I've never seen this creature before.
Know it was resistant.
So I thought maybe like water, like the antithesis to water is fire. Like, let's do this thing, and nope.
Yep. Every pirate or sea person worth their salt knows about how dangerous the seas are with dragon turtles. So I'm glad.
I'm not worth anything. No.
I'm glad we escaped.
Like one of the worst things to run into out there.
Has that been our hardest fight thus far in our adventure? Like our strongest enemy we've fought in?
That I've been around for, yeah.
Same, I think. I can't recall one that has hit harder.
Definitely the strongest, but I think we had the worst fight was when we fought those two ogres in the jungle and like two of us were down.
Oh.
With the piranhas in the water at the same time. I think that was our most, or no, maybe the basilisk fight was the worst.
I think the basilisk fight had the worst consequences. Like our consequences for this fight were like death or like the ship going down, you know? Mm-hmm. But like all in all, the basilisks seemed on the squishier side, but if you looked at them, you were screwed. Like that's all it took, you know? Mm-hmm. Which made it hard.
So a lot of tough fights this campaign.
Hydra could have been bad one too, but we handled that one pretty well.
I think we handled that one similarly.
And that was because of your like utility stuff.
Yeah. Which is so crazy because I don't take like this is the first time I'm taking utility. I really like DPS. So having to sit back and be like, okay, what can I do now? And then something happens. I'm like, okay, what can I do now? You know, like I'm constantly changing plans in the background.
But it's like your spells in particular, like your choice of spells have been extremely good for like getting us out of encounters or at least tipping the scales in our favor.
Oh,
like
sure.
So many times at this point.
So how does that feel as a player who loves blowing stuff up? Now being like the playmaker.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel as satisfying. Like there's nothing more satisfying to me than like rolling the dice and being like 35 damage, suck it, you know? Like I love the feeling of high numbers on dice. And I don't get that. However, getting out of a bad situation is kind of like the same thing of like, we were going to go down here if we didn't run, and like being able to help us run, you know, is kind of the same, but I like big numbers, whammy, like situation, you know?
You know, what's been interesting for me playing as Core is with Hayden, because of my subclass, like my initiative is like +7. On Hayden.
What?
So I'm always near the top of the order, but like this time I have a +1, and I also rolled badly. And being at the end of the turn order in such a big fight is so frustrating because the entire time I'm waiting, I'm like coming up with a plan, but then pieces get moved around and things disappear off the board and new things come on, and I'm like,
Yep.
all my plans are being like
I had
ruined
a
right
plan.
now.
Now what?
That was like when Zillajarn like beelined it from one ship to the other. I was gonna like lay on hands much earlier,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Why you run away from me?"
You ran away.
But Max didn't know.
Yeah, same thing for Bun, because when I had this whole plan to deal with the dragon turtle.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, I'm gonna jump the water and turn into Octopus. I'm like, no, I've been waiting my whole turn to plan this
probably
thing.
needs to have a conversation with her
What
about
was your
waiting
original
for-
plan?
I don't even remember. I was going to. It was either I was gonna do Hunger of Hadar or Darkness, and then just like fire every single cannon possible.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, the plan just disappeared from my brain because it no longer needed to be in there. Because like the second Emmy jumped in the water, I was like, well, shit.
Damn it. Yep.
Yeah. I think
And she had
Azric
said
might
she
need to
was
have
like, hit me. And like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but as a player, it's hard for me to purposely hit another player, you know?
Mhm.
I feel like
I did that in
I
campaign
usually
1 a lot with Valken and having you drop spells on me. I'm like, don't worry, it's okay. I can watch. I'll dodge it.
well, how do you feel about like that character and then this character VS, like going from one play style to another?
Are you talking about from campaign 1 to this one, or between the two in this
Yeah.
campaign? I mean, it's different. Monk and Rogue play pretty differently. The benefit, so I have a lot easier time being able to do my rogue stuff as a swashbuckler, just because with rogue and sneak attack, like every other rogue has a specific circumstance that they get sneak attack for. But swashbucklers get sneak attack basically whenever they want to.
Oh, wow.
They can have it in the classic ways that rogues need, like if an enemy or allies next to an enemy, or they're or you have advantage on them. Swashbucklers, I could be one-on-one with somebody and I still get my sneak attack.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
So, I mean, the biggest difference is bigger numbies this time. Like I knew going in, I was like, you know what, rogue's gonna be fun because sneak attack, rogues do a lot of damage, but even then, like anytime I get like a huge hit on something, I'm still surprised by how big the numbers are. Sometimes it's like, because I'm not used to that. With Valken, it was more like just the sheer number of attacks. I never did like crazy damage until the end of the campaign.
Oh, sure.
Like I had that special sword Max gave me, but so yeah, the biggest difference is I got more utility this time around and bigger numbies, so it's fun.
How does that compare to you playing a paladin now with Smite?
Well, this is the first real fight I've actually gotten to do paladin stuff. So it was my first time using a Smite, and it's pretty cool. And I can see how devastating it can be. Like especially if the dice roll in your favor when it comes to damage, because it's the 2 extra D8 on top is comparable to like rogues from like level 1 to 4 with their, actually it does more potentially, because rogues get 2d6 on sneak attack up to level 5, and then they get more. So yeah, the damage potential is there, and so
Yeah.
I don't know, I got to use it once and it felt pretty good.
Yeah, usually because you can activate Smite anytime you want.
Right, it's not limited to once per turn.
Yeah. Currently in current rules, you can Smite as long as you have spell slots, and you can even use it on attack of opportunity. And,
wow, that's awesome.
But like usually, what people do is because if you have multiple attacks, they wait for the attack that has a crit, and then they smite, and then it's just like huge numbers.
That's why there's like kind of a joke of like paladin players never use spells because they are just using their slots on smite.
Yeah, they're just smiting. Yeah, just
I've been trying
numbies.
to incorporate some of the spells I have, trying to do like bless and whatnot. I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't take any of these healing spells that are available because I'm like, it'd be better to have some more utility stuff. And then sure enough, the fight where like having a ranged heal could have helped. Didn't have it. So
yeah. Having to prepare spells is new for me. So going into every day, I'm like, okay, what are we possibly going to be doing? Like, what do I think that I need or want? And I let go of some things that I definitely could have used in this fight to be a little bit more useful on like the attack side. But I let go of it for fireball and other things that ended up being useless. So
I think once we get to some higher levels and you have access to more spells and more spell slots, like I think you're going to have fun with the amount of interchangeability that's going to come, because wizards just are so powerful, especially once you get up like level 9, 10, and 11, 12.
Yeah.
They get some crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, I think the challenge is though, the higher level you get, the more spells you have access to, then you kind of have like decision paralysis on what spells to pick. So
yeah, that's why I like sorcerer, because you just have your spells and those are your spells. You don't have to worry about decisions. Can't make the decisions. But Azric's character coming back, how has that been, like kind of getting jumped back in with the crew and realizing that we're all in a mess, you know?
It's hard. I don't know if it's hard for Azric. That's the right way to say it. He's just like trying to get back into things, and like he did get a debriefing from Whisper of like what went down while he was away, and I guess there's still not a lot of order on the ship. Like people are just doing, like, especially when it comes to combat, people are doing things like Emmy just like, I would say 9 out of 10 times Emmy's jumping in the water doing something. So it's just like, changes a lot of the course of combat.
I want to ask you two moves, specifically about today. Did Azric's conversation with Core, did that have any effect on Azric's thought process as to what might be happening with Hayden?
Yeah, I was trying to think of what we know about Hayden's past so far, and all we know that,
because I was coming at it as Core as an outsider, doesn't know Hayden, and doesn't know the history of your crew. Some logical thought process when I'm trying to figure out what a motivation might be for this is, does he have enemies? Does your crew have enemies? Could it be, if nobody knew he was there, could it have been somebody on your ship that had some sort of ulterior motives that might have come into play? So I thought of that as we were ready to play the game. I was like, I want to find an opportunity to like put this out there. So I was wondering if Azric...
like you definitely gave Azric a lot to think about, because we do have 3 people on the ship who work for Blackbeak. But wouldn't it make sense for Blackbeak to want to kidnap Hayden?
No.
Maybe not Blackbeak, but
Whisper,
I think Whisper's been like kind of gunning for, like, she wants to be in a position of authority on the ship. So I'm not saying it's her or she had any capability of doing something like that, but it's the logical thought process for Core.
She's super cunning. She knows how to manipulate people, especially like Emmy. And then for Azric, like, he doesn't really care about the artifact. Like, as long as it's not in the hands of the Order of Conservancy, that he doesn't really, especially because how lax that the people of Escos are when it comes towards magic. Like, they're not as stringent or strict as like maybe the other republics are.
And Azric would know that.
Yeah, so like them having the artifact's not a problem. Like they're not going to use it against people.
I think Whisper's point was that if it was stolen once, like it's going to get stolen again. Like it needs to be with people that are going to actually protect it and not let it fall into the hands of people that shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get where she's coming from, but like she's the last person I'm going to trust.
Yeah. The counterpoint to that would be it's going to be in the hands of like pirates or somebody else. So I don't know how much protecting would be done then either.
I feel as a player, like I don't want to cross Whisper, you know, like I really want her on our side and as a friend, like I want her on our crew. Like I want her at the end, I want her to be like,
oh yeah, she'd be a huge asset.
Yeah, like I want her to tell Blackbeak like this is my family now, like goodbye, you know. So it's like how can we do that? And it's like her ideas we trust and value, you know, and this is one of her ideas, so let's go. If this is what you want, let's do it, you know. Versus being like, no, this is a bad idea, and then just shutting her down, and then her feeling like even more of an outsider, more connected to Blackbeak than to us, you know.
My question is we've had a lot of Whisper because she's been involved in a lot of roleplay, but there's 2 other Blackbeak people on our ship. I wonder, obviously there are 3 people that Blackbeak trusts a lot. So I wonder if we did potentially sway Whisper, I wonder about the other 2. Would they be like, do they have a way to report to Blackbeak about what's going on, or
are those 2 people reporting to Whisper who then report to Blackbeak?
Yeah, we don't know the pecking order of those people.
I think they're just like muscle to help run the ship because we were so lean when we did encounter Blackbeak. And Whisper's like the true contact, because I think we saw that I think Whisper is a soul knife, as she was able to.
Is that what that rogue is?
Yeah, she was able to materialize blades. So we know she's a rogue. Or
is that the one with the psionic stuff? Like
the psionic. Okay, stuff. I think that's what she is, or she could be arcane trickster.
I don't know what the shadow blade thing is. If that was just flavor, or if that's like an actual spell or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's why it makes me think she's a soul knife.
Yeah, could just be flavored to look like a shadow.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
but
dun.
we did pick up a lot of leftovers. I don't want to call them leftovers, but like we like destroyed a ship, and we either you join us or you sink, you know. So
yeah, we did get those 2 just to fill out our crew.
And the recent 2, because I listened to the podcast of the episodes that I missed when I was gone, that they were on the ship where that's that icon, or that like tattered image of the Conservancy. So they could be with the Conservancy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Max,
you could throw them
I don't know if Max is
overboard.
getting that deep, you know, with the crew, because they're just
I wouldn't put it
basically
past
there
them.
to run
I
the
don't
ship.
know if, because you know, like even with our crew, there's members of the crew that are just like so low in like the pecking order of things that like, yeah, they could have been just hired as hands on that ship without any real allegiance, but maybe it could be worth talking to them and asking them about who was on that other ship, because we've really had no time. Like everything's been happening, right? This has been a matter of like 2 days of time, or 3 at most.
Yeah.
So we haven't really had
we rarely have downtime.
Yeah. So maybe once things settle down some, and depending on what happens with Hayden, we can chat with them about like what the heck they were doing, or who their allegiance is to, or whatever.
I mean, this is like future stuff.
Beforehand.
How is Hayden going to feel that Whisper's trying to step on his turf, you know, trying to take over?
Mm-hmm.
I see it as splitting, because like while we're off on land, like we need someone to like, I don't know, take over the ship and make sure all of the crew is doing good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I don't mind Whisper taking command of the ship while we're offshore. But like what's the dynamic going to be like when they're both on the ship together?
Mm.
The power struggle.
I think I don't know what Max's thought process is, but I think Whisper ought to be able to recognize that Hayden is just as capable of a sailor and has an ability to run the ship as well as she possibly can. So I don't know if she's going to be. It just depends on how like ambitious Whisper's trying to be. If she's just going to constantly try to, outdo Hayden in terms of like trying to be the one bossing people around, or if she's going to recognize that maybe she doesn't, since he's going to be on the ship again, that he handles it fine. It just depends on what she wants. Like, what is her goal in this?
I mean, we know what she said. She wants to run her own ship one day. So I mean, her ambitions are pretty high.
Hell, if we become pretty successful, we can have another ship in our fleet. Maybe give that ship to her. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot to take in, but first we got to get Hayden back, and that's hopefully what we're going to do next week.
Next week.
I'm hoping for answers. I need to know personally who the heck is so fixated on Hayden that they would just steal a statue.
Steal a stone statue? Yeah, honestly. That's wild.
So weird. But yeah, we will find out next time for Casters and Cantrips on Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Twitch and YouTube. And we hope you all have a fantastic holiday break, and see you next time.
Bye.